Live from Hazard, Kentucky, this is Jammin' John's Wrestling News. Here's your news for Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Here are the highlights from the All Elite Wrestling Rally in Jacksonville, Florida from earlier today. Billy Gunn was revealed as a producer for the promotion. SoCal Uncensored came out and confirmed that they have signed with AEW. There were cheerleaders with the group as well. Cody Rhodes came out and the fans chanted "Dusty's proud," and he said, "I hope he is." Cody said they have to keep the fire going from what started at All In. Cody said that the talent will be paid well. Cody said that fans come first and wins and losses will matter like they've never mattered before. Cody said they won't coach fans how to react. The Young Bucks came out and talked about how the Khan family asked them about wanting to change the world. The Bucks said they want any athlete that is elite regardless of background and lifestyle. OWE from China will also be involved with AEW. Double or Nothing will take place on May 25th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Brandy Rhodes came out and said as Chief Brand Officer, she will give 100% commitment to AEW. There will indeed be a women's division in AEW, and Brandy said the women will be paid equally as the men. Brandy announced Britt Baker as a talent signing. Maxwell Jacob Friedman came out and interrupted Conrad Thompson. A Jacksonville Jaguar mascot came out to crash MJF's promo. Joey Jelena and Penelope Ford came out, and Jelena took out MJF with a crutch. Over 100,000 people were watching the stream on various platforms. Hangman Page came out and said that he's happy he doesn't have to deal with corporate overlords. Page said the fans are his boss, and he will work extra hard for them. Page vowed to be the first AEW champion, and then completely out of nowhere, Pac came out and confronted him. Pac issued a challenge, and Page accepted. Cody announced that AEW's second show will take place in Jacksonville, Florida, and the proceeds from the show will benefit victims of gun violence. And finally, as the final surprise, out of nowhere, Y2J Chris Jericho came out and said, "I'm Chris Jericho, and I'm all in with All Elite Wrestling." Jericho said he's not there for the money and he wants to do something different and new. Jericho said he will be at Double or Nothing, and they aren't going to change the world, they are going to change the universe. So there's the recap of the AEW rally. A lot of big things happening at this rally. Of course, you got SoCal Uncensored, Joey Jelena's there, Britt Baker is signed, equal pay for the women. They're not going to coach the wrestling fans like WWE does with some of their plants and all that. And plus, we got our first match confirmed. Neville/Pac taking on Hangman Adam Page. So, looks to be really good. May 25th, Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, Nevada at MGM Grand. Should be a great show. Also keeping on the topic of AEW, the following press release was sent out today from the Khan family. Shad Khan made a statement on AEW today saying, "I am the lead investor, a supporter, and a backer of All Elite Wrestling, and I anticipate great things today and into the future for AEW and everyone who has worked passionately on this week's launch. I know AEW will be welcomed by wrestling fans here in the US and throughout the world who are ready for something new and authentic. AEW will work hard to deliver on that promise. As important, I am the proud father of Tony Khan, who will serve in the leadership role at AEW during the 2019 launch and in the years ahead. Tony will assemble a great team to take AEW over the top for the benefit of everyone who loves the wrestling industry, while continuing to serve in his current capacities with the Jaguars and Fulham. AEW will operate as an organization completely independently from my utter interest. It will not deter attention or divert resources from any of my businesses, teams, projects, or investments. At the same time, AEW will enjoy the same full commitment I've given to everything and everyone in my life, my family and friends, my business, and, in recent years, to sports, hospitality, and now entertainment." And also, Tony Khan released a statement saying, "Wrestling fans are a community unlike most others. I've been a part of this community since I was 7 years old, and I can tell you that wrestling fans see the world every day through a special lens. We see wrestling in Hollywood films and TV shows. We see elements of wrestling in the presentation of sports and in the marketing of grandiose star athletes, and we certainly see wrestling in politics. The wrestling community is a constant. Its members are diverse. We are physically located on all corners of the planet, yet we are constantly connected. Recently, a new family has formed, bonded by love and respect for wrestling, but armed with a vision and resources that have never before been available to the wrestling community. Our objective is to connect our community closer than ever before through All Elite Wrestling, or AEW. AEW does not mean any less of a continued commitment to existing obligations and duties that I have, or my family has, to our business and sports interests. That will never be the case. What's important is that every individual decision we make as family, whether it's ownership or investment in a team or property, is 100% beneficial to those specific interests. I will always welcome that accountability and responsibility, as nothing is more important than serving our supporters and friends. AEW will launch with a roster of the top wrestlers in the world. While they'll clash in what will be some of the most intense and fast-paced contests ever sanctioned in the squared circle, they'll also share a common goal: to make this the true golden age, to make this the greatest time ever to be a wrestling fan. Likewise, as a business, by treating our wrestlers with respect and warmth, we also seek to make this the golden age for the performers themselves. I urge everyone who believes in what we're doing or wants to believe in dreams coming true to support AEW by spreading the word and passing the wrestling bug on to someone else. My message: get in on the ground floor with AEW today and help lead our movement to grow the wrestling community and ensure that the voices of the wrestling fans, their creative minds, and their remarkable ideas will always be heard. And staying with the topic of AEW, something very interesting happened earlier tonight. John Pollock of PostWrestling.com noted the following about tonight's SmackDown Live, which took place down the road from the All Elite Wrestling Rally in Jacksonville, Florida. John Pollock said, "I've heard from several fans with issues at SmackDown tonight regarding the AEW merchandise they had on. One of them told me he was removed from the building and not given an option to buy a WWE shirt. I've contacted a WWE representative for a statement." According to this fan, he offered to buy a WWE shirt to replace the AEW one, but his offer was declined. He left the building and changed in his car and was able to get back into the arena for SmackDown. Now, a WWE rep told ProWrestlingSheet.com that there was no directive by the company to have security not allow fans with AEW merchandise from entering the arena. So, very interesting stuff happening here. As you know, a couple of days ago I said that the WWE was monitoring the AEW situation, and looks like that was true. Last night's Raw, which featured appearances by John Cena, Hulk Hogan, and Brock Lesnar, did 2.324 million viewers. This was above last week's 1.985 million viewers for New Year's Eve. The Raw from 1 year ago, on January the 8th, 2018, drew 2.760 million viewers. Both this week's Raw and the Raw from 1 year ago had college football competition. Here are the hourly numbers from ShowBuzzDaily.com. Hour number 1, 2.609 million viewers. Hour number 2, 2.294 million viewers. And hour number 3, 2.70 million viewers. In an interview with Planet of Wrestling, Bobby Roode commented on who he would like to see in this year's Royal Rumble match. Bobby Roode said, "Right now it seems like the stars in the business, the people I'm familiar with, are definitely in the WWE or quite possibly one of the 30 guys that are already in the match. But if you're looking for an outside guy, I don't know, it's got to be Kenny Omega then. He's a fellow Canadian and a guy that, I think, has a lot of talent and would be a huge addition to this company. But who knows? We'll see what happens." And speaking of Kenny Omega, Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com discussed what is next for Kenny Omega in the world of wrestling. Dave Meltzer said, "New Japan does not want to lose Kenny Omega badly. I think again this is exceedingly educated speculation that things would change in this relationship. The idea as of Saturday was that New Japan was going to work with Ring of Honor. ROH, I guess, didn't really want the Young Bucks and Cody and those guys on the Madison Square Garden show. That's kind of a weird situation there. Everybody's nice and everybody's cordial with each other, but business is business, and New Japan is partnered with Ring of Honor and All Elite is starting out, and New Japan was nice to them, but they were not going to break up their partnership with Ring of Honor over All Elite, so everything was kind of status quo, and All Elite was looking like they weren't going to have a relationship with New Japan." Meltzer added that we probably won't know anything official until February 1st, and that AEW and NJPW could end up working together due to NJPW wanting to keep using Omega. Dave Meltzer said, Kenny Omega has not said this specifically, but the tea leaves kind of say it. I kind of heard from WWE that they really wanted him, and it's not going to happen unless there are changes. It's going to be All Elite. If that's the case, New Japan really wants Kenny Omega, so they may be working with All Elite. I don't know how it's all going to come down, but it definitely went from the idea that they may work with All Elite at some point to now I think it's got a very good shot of happening, but there's still a lot of barriers and it's a very complicated issue. New Japan really wants Kenny Omega, and they really want Chris Jericho. Thanks to WrestlingNews.co for the quotes. Also, Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com discussed WWE's creative changes to the Royal Rumble card, including Ronda Rousey facing Sasha Banks instead of Charlotte. Dave Meltzer said, "So they revamped the Royal Rumble card, and that's where originally it was going to be Ronda Rousey and Charlotte as they did all those interviews to build for it. That was changed. Ronda Rousey does want to work with Sasha Banks. She likes her. She thinks she's good, so that is a shoot." Meltzer also noted that Seth Rollins has been making a conscious effort to avoid getting boring chants during matches. Dave Meltzer said, "He doesn't want to get boring chants. He works really hard, so he wants to be great. He was great tonight. He was the star of the show." Thanks to RingsideNews.com for the quotes. Also, Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com commented on what is next for Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose after defeating Seth Rollins on last night's Raw. Meltzer seems to believe that Finn Balor is the most likely candidate to feud with Ambrose. Dave Meltzer said, "In the end, Bobby Lashley cut Seth the Intercontinental title, so it looks like, I don't know what they're going to need to Dean because Dean is going to need a new challenger if Seth is married to Bobby Lashley. So did they seem to build anyone? Not really. I mean, the babyfaces against Ambrose was Seth, who was just with Ambrose and John Cena. He may work with Ambrose, but he's going to be gone pretty soon. Finn Balor, I guess it could be Finn Balor later. It's possible." Meltzer also noted that Braun Strowman still hasn't been cleared to do anything physical yet, by saying, "I want to make something clear that Braun Strowman is not cleared because that's also why what happened tonight happened, because he's not cleared for anything physical yet." Thanks to RingsideNews.com for the quotes. And finally, here on Jammin John's Wrestling News, the Dignity Memorial published the following obituary for Mean Gene Okerlund. Eugene Arthur Okerlund passed away on January 2, 2019 at Sarasota Memorial Hospital in Sarasota, Florida. Gene was born in Brookings, South Dakota on December 19, 1942, to parents Arthur and Helen Okerlund. Gene grew up in Sisseton, South Dakota, and graduated from Sisseton High School in 1960. He was an all-around athlete, playing basketball, baseball, football, and track. He was also an incredible musician, playing with the Harold Johnson Orchestra and then his own band, Gene Carroll and the Shades. He enrolled at the University of Nebraska to study journalism and left after his first year to pursue a career in radio broadcasting. He began his working career as a radio disc jockey. He married his wife Jeanne Okerlund in March of 1964. Gene and Jeanne moved multiple times in the late 60s for DJ gigs all over the country in markets from Flint, Michigan to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. In 1967, they settled in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they raised their two sons, Todd and Tor. Gene was driven to succeed and advanced his career by moving into selling advertising for WTCN-TV in Golden Valley, Minnesota in the early 1970s. It was at WTCN-TV that Gene got his first break as a wrestling announcer when Vern Gagne of the AWA asked him to fill in for a missing announcer. His wrestling career grew from that point on. During his career as a wrestling announcer, he also became a partner at Cohen Okerlund Smith Advertising in Minneapolis. Gene worked for the AWA until 1984, when he began working for the World Wrestling Federation, which eventually became the WWE. Gene continued to work right up until he became ill. Gene recorded his last show in December of 2018. Gene was recognized for his contributions in creating the industry-leading WWE with his induction into the WWE's Hall of Fame in 2006. He truly loved his career. He had many friends in life and enjoyed spending time and socializing with them. Gene cherished his wife Jeanne, who was by his side when he passed away. He also loved boating and spending time during the summer at his cabin on Big Sandy Lake in northern Minnesota. He lived a very full and happy life, residing for many years in Sarasota, Florida. Gene survived by his wife Jeanne, sons Todd, Patricia of Phoenix, and Tor Dana of Hudson, Wisconsin, and grandchildren Henry, Arthur, and Brady. R.I.P. Mean Gene. And that is your news for Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Check back here tomorrow for another Jammin' John's Wrestling News Flash Briefing on Amazon Alexa devices, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and iTunes. Follow me on Twitter at John Caldwell, JONCOLWELL. Follow me on Instagram, The Jammin' John. If you'd like to sponsor Jammin' John's Wrestling News or your wrestling promotion, want to get your next big event out, you can email me, jzcaldwell@gmail.com. That's JZCOLWELL@gmail.com. Big shout out to Ryan Hurdle and Tony Nelson for subscribing to my Patreon. You too can subscribe to me by going to patreon.com/jamminjohn. I have free packages on there ranging from free to $7. Not a whole lot of money. I would really appreciate it if you supported me a little bit financially. Once again, that's patreon.com/jamminjohn. This is Jammin' John saying thanks, goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow.